hard as war. When he writes, he stabs the page. He knows he's in a fight against this monolith of paper, so he uses every dirty trick at his disposal, knowing this is for more than bragging rights. Locked in, shoulders hunched as his body bites the nicotine out of half a cigarette left overnight. The water grows still, but he's got the scent of blood. Next up is Cowsert. He has a beard. He believes in the efficiency of language.
Can everybody hear me? That is not a question I ask very often, actually. All right, is that better?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, before I launch in, I just want to, first of all, thank everyone for coming. And I want to specifically thank all of the people who came because I invited them specifically. You guys are great. I am very often undeserving. So thank you so much. My story is called The Smoke Box. It's not exactly difficult to remain in your mid-20s pretty much in perpetuity. Really all you have to do is not have kids. In my nearly 3 decades on this earth, you have to find a drug that ages you faster than bringing an independent human life into the world. Maybe meth. Natural meth. From the looks of the scene we entered, the revelers at Nick's going away party had some experience with both. Put it this way, the party could have been sponsored by Sudafed and baby formula. It was that fucking classic. The host kept an unwashed high chair in the kitchen. Likely for the kid, they get 2 nights a week and every other weekend, or however it is teenage drug addicts solve in their kid time for optimal fucking up of the child's psyche. We couldn't have looked more out of place if we tried. The 4 of us, all in our semi-matching pea coats, black. Ace and I wearing ties with our button-up shirts tucked into our jeans. Teddy and Lorden wearing nearly identical maroon cashmere V-necks. We received more than a few comments on how we were all dressed so similarly. Not all the comments were meant to be taken as compliments, I don't believe. I don't really know. I have a hard time understanding and relating to people. At least Nick shares our affinity for overdressing. He'd been the one to finally open the door, after some shuffling and whispering about how someone's at the door, you guys, but it's not the cops. His necktie under a sweater vest combo made the rest of us look less ridiculous. Initially, we made a sweep of the party, which consisted of a 2-room tour. 2 couples hung out in the kitchen directly to the right of the hallway entrance, smoking cigarettes and getting to second base. Everyone else congregated in the living room, mostly on 2 couches, facing each other from opposite walls. 2 girls played the most depressing game of beer pong I have ever seen on this short, oblong table using clear plastic cups. The white walls were stained by cigarette smoke, those telltale brown ripples forming on the spackle ceiling. The sliding glass back door opened out onto a 2-by-3-foot patch of concrete I actually heard someone refer to as a patio, which led directly out to the apartment complex parking lot. The whole thing was so goddamn sad. I think they were drinking Coors. Not Coors Light, Coors Regular. Full flavor Coors. I didn't even know that was a thing. This place was one of those human roach motel apartments. Don't act like you've never been drunk in one of these places. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, it is, sort of, but that's not the point, really. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm pretty sure I could have reached up and touched the ceiling anywhere in the apartment without jumping. I didn't test this theory, because I don't have a pathological desire to attract the attention of the miscreants I sometimes accidentally hang out with. I knew 3 people out of maybe 20 at this party. Technically, I only really knew 1, Nick, and I had a cursory knowledge of 2 girls because they'd come over to my house a couple times. 1, Cassidy, is a curly-haired brunette with baby fat in her face and field hockey thighs. I know her name because, and only because, the girl she shows up with for my parties, Victoria, is a fucking Bond girl. Victoria, unfortunately, was not the other girl. No, the other girl was Mercy, of the off-dyed hair, slim waist, and overblown opinion of herself. Don't get me wrong, Mercy's pretty, but she's waitress pretty. She's got to face a lifetime of bad decisions and wear hard on without wearing down. She's a high school dropout runaway in ripped fishnets who can't even buy her own cigarettes yet. I want to tell her she should go home, that this place has less in common with a party than it does with those old smoking lounges in the airport. Those boxy glass rooms where people used to go to publicly give up on themselves before they caught their connected flight in Atlanta. Thing is, as a 17-year-old girl who's never even been on an airplane, she'd have no idea what I was talking about. Upon entering the living room, Mercy shouted my name, bringing some of that unwanted attention I'd been hoping to avoid by not reaching up to touch the same bound ceiling. Mercy's made out with my roommate Teddy, she fucked my roommate Lorden, and she won't say so much as 2 words to either of them the whole time we're there. Yet that night she shouted my full name, first and last, something I never told her, which means she found it out some other way, which is a fact in and of itself quite unsettling. I waved politely but refrained from engaging her in conversation. Some long-haired string bean made the critical error of passing out on one couch with his shoes on, which led to his face being used as a palette for some very forward-thinking permanent market dick art. Some budding artist had even drawn a presentable recreation of the face tattoo from The Hangover, which was of course a callback to Mike Tyson's real-life face tattoo. Hipsters love layering their irony almost as much as they love layering their clothes. I retreated to the kitchen, where Lorden, Teddy, Ace had joined the 2 couples in the smoking of the cigarettes, filling the room with secondhand proof that the batteries in the smoke detector above the stove needed replacing. Hey, I know you. A voice, a male voice, directed at me, unrecognized and hopefully mistaken. I turned my head to face a total stranger, this emaciated towhead with dark sleep rings all the way around both his eyes, like he's in zombie makeup or some kind of bizarro minstrel whiteface. I stammer a non-reply and rifle through my list of everyone I've ever met, which I still picture as a Rolodex, even though I've never owned a Rolodex. So you'd think I'd picture it in my head as my contacts list on my phone or my Facebook friends or something. But no, it's a Rolodex, and this gaunt motherfucker is nowhere in it. You know Schwitty Tyler, he tells me, the shit-faced convention. Do I? Tyler? I don't think... He lives on King. Fuck my face with a chainsaw. I do know this haggard young man with the sinkhole eyes. Yeah, I know Tyler. Good neighbor, good guy. I move past him to open the fridge and grab a beer. Designated driving be damned. I absolutely cannot handle raw humanity and complete sobriety in tandem. Nick saves me. Sweet Nick, his fat Hawaiian face all wet and glistening with drunk sweats, smiling as he peeks around the corner into the kitchen. You guys want to smoke a bowl? Yes. Fuck yes, Teddy answers, sounding just as eager to alter his agitated state of mind as I. For those of you uninitiated into the tie-dyed and unremarkable world of marijuana smoking, generally the next step after someone asks you if you want to smoke a bowl is the smoking of said bowl. I waited for Nick to procure his paraphernalia, but he just stood there, looking awkward, waiting for us to make a move. We didn't bring any, bro, I told him. Oh, no, dude, I got some. It's just, he stopped, looked over his shoulder and lowered his voice. Do you guys have a pipe? Yes, of course, because I always travel with drug paraphernalia on my person for no reason. I end up hiring lawyers to get me out of misdemeanors. Not here, I tell him. Okay, well, come out to my car then. Now look, I don't generally consider myself a particularly high-maintenance person, but it was below freezing outside, and sad as it may have been, we were technically in someone's residence, which offers far more protection from curious roaming police vehicles than sitting in your car in a parking lot getting high like a bunch of high school sophomores. Why? I asked him. Nick hemmed and hawed a bit over that one before finally admitting the bowl out in his car didn't actually belong to him at all, but was in fact property of another partygoer. Now, you might be wondering why this would be a problem. It was a problem because, and I shit you not, Nick wasn't planning on returning this particular pipe, so bringing it inside would compromise his plan. Eventually, after Nick made the trip out to his car to retrieve the pipe, we compromised and wound up smoking in Cassidy's car, still away from the house, but much closer than Nick's, thus saving us a long walk in the cold. Full disclosure, I hate smoking in cars. Even after I called shotgun and left Lorden, Ace, and Teddy to pack themselves into the back seat on top of poor Cassidy's dry cleaning, I still wasn't remotely happy or comfortable. I'm not trying to be a diva here, I used to not have any problem at all smoking in cars, both moving and static. Hell, I took a month to travel from New York to Los Angeles, trading heads of acid, and wheat peanut butter for other drugs and lodging back in '05. The thing is now, they changed the law. Now, if you get hit with any kind of drug offense, they take away federal student aid, which would be a huge issue for me since I can't afford to put myself through school. It's a stupid fucking law, if you ask me. I mean, taking away someone's student loans just because they got caught smoking some weed. Kids are in college, what the hell else are they supposed to do? I say all this only to defend my actions shortly after we entered the vehicle. About 3 rotations into the session, when some Crown Vic headlights pulled into the parking lot and set their high beams on us. Dude, what is that? I asked. What? Nick asked. That car, up there, it's just sitting there. What the fuck is it? Wait, there's a car? Gordon asked. Fresh off his own brush with the law last week. Wait, what? Nick peeked over my headrest to get a better look. Get up, we're on Cassidy's dress, Penny interjected. We were all sitting ducks, all of us piled in the cold, dead, smoke-filled car, which was new-looking, and I think it was black, though it may have been silver. At any rate, we didn't even have her keys, and the car was old, and the bowl was cashed, and I didn't want to stick around and wait for Mr. City Police to come rapping at my tinted window. So I did the stupidest, most illogical, and dangerous thing possible. I got out of the car. Don't get it twisted. The officer would have had no way of knowing anyone was in the vehicle. There's no way he could have spotted us from where we parked, a solid 40 yards away, with multiple cars parallel parked between us and him. Our windows were up, our headlights off. I overreacted, lost my cool, and gave away our position. It was a good thing the car turned out to be a cab. I caught a tiny yellow paint job and a lighted plastic taxi sign about 2 steps after I closed the passenger door, so I dutifully turned around. It's just a cab, and informed my friends they all exited the car as well. I thought the sign was a siren. I added in an effort to save face. Cassidy quietly confronted Nick on our re-entry to the party. The guys once again retreated to the kitchen, and I went off in search of a bathroom. I didn't mean to see what I saw, I swear. I mean, I guess in a way I'm glad I saw it. Or at least I ought to be, maybe? I don't know. Really, whenever I think about it, I just feel guilty and awful and ashamed. You have to believe me, though. I had no idea. I was honestly just looking for the bathroom. The door was half open and the lights were off, both of which gave off kind of a bathroomy vibe, or at least that's what I figured at the time. Nick gets good weed, so maybe I was just too high, and it was my fault. I saw the crib first, and it surprised me, because in my head it was supposed to be a toilet. Then my eyes adjusted just enough so that I could see the silhouette of an infant through the wispy haze. I stared at it, afraid, no, sure, that it was dead, until its little chest rose ever so slightly before deflating again, over and over, sucking the smoky air into its tiny lungs, breathing just to take another breath. Slack-jawed and appalled, I shut the door as quickly as I could without making any noise about it. I could feel the oxygen leaving my bloodstream. My whole body, skin to soul, went cold. Back in the living room, I could see Nick talking to Cassidy out on the patio. She looked to be crying, and the last thing I saw of them was him drawing her in for a big, fat Polynesian hug. My roommates remained committed to their misanthropy in the kitchen, which made them easy to corral. We're leaving, I told her. Okay, why? Pace asked. Just now, I answered, already reaching for the door. We left the party unceremoniously and without saying goodbye. Once we were safely outside where I trusted no one could hear us, I spoke. There was a baby in that apartment. Are you serious? Lord stopped dead in his tracks. Ace took the exact opposite tack and wordlessly bolted for the car at full sprint. The rest of us followed, beating shit out of there as fast as we could. We ran all the way to Ace's Volkswagen and didn't wait for the car to heat up before we peeled off. Someone ought to call Child Protective Services, I said as I lit a cigarette. I get to introduce Casey. Casey Sorrell hasn't lived here or anywhere else very long, but knows a little bit about a little bit and uses this to write. She mostly likes to write other people's stories and hopes to put that skill to good use one day, writing about music and life and traveling around being genuinely fabulous. Occasionally she dabbles in poetry. This is her first public reading, unless you count that time she tried to get a bunch of poets to meet and read over drinks last year, but honestly that was just a bunch of writers drinking, which is something they do anyway. She can usually be found selling sugary confections to downtowners at the Cup, or on stage with the lovely ladies of the Cherry Bomb Burlesque. Here are some poems she wrote about some things.
Hello! This is actually the perfect height. That's great. Okay. This first poem is